All right, mic check, I'm good. So I'm Max Ceron, CWB Association Welding podcast. Today we have a really cool guest, Welding podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the CWB Association podcast. My name is Max Ceron and I'm here at Fabtech having a killer time. It's nice and warm in here on the show floor, which,
my armpits are sweating.
Yeah. And I'm here with the fantastic, energetic, and beautiful Rae Ripple.
Aww.
How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I've been really good.
I missed you.
Yeah, I know. We keep in touch and we do what we can to stay, what's going on. But it's different than meeting in person and being like, yo.
It's so much. I love Fabtech because every year I come back, it's like a giant family reunion.
100%.
So I love seeing you. I love seeing everybody. It's amazing.
Well, and it's funny because we're coming into our age of being the Fabtech seniors.
Yeah,
right? So
weird, right?
No, it is. I thought about this last night when I was talking to people because, you got Chuck, you got Becker, you got Stephanie, you got all, and these people. It's like, okay, we've been coming here for a few years now.
Yeah, we're OGs.
Yeah, so we're getting to be the OGs and everyone's like, people younger than us are like, oh, hey, you're so. I mean, you guys are for real famous, but I'm just some schlep that hangs out with famous people. So.
Definitely not famous. I'm just like everybody else, just hustling, trying to make it in the world, just like, everybody here.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. We are now the people that are going to be here probably the next 20 years in and out and supporting the industry, how we do, and we do our things.
Absolutely.
And I think we got a new vibe. It's a new form of leadership that's coming up.
You know what I've noticed? Okay, so last year was after COVID. So, of course, it was really small, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. But, this year, it's, back to the swing of things, you know? Mm-hmm. But have you noticed the amount of women that have showed up?
Yeah, 100%.
This year, it's
even
grown
in the booths,
tremendously.
The people working the floor,
yeah.
the people working the shows. Last night, we were at the lounge, and there was probably a table of 10 women, all CEOs, executive directors of large steelworking companies. I was like, yeah. It looks like we're getting somewhere here.
It is, dude. Fabtech 2019, I feel like there was me and maybe just a handful of other female metal fabricators or welders, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Now, oh my gosh, I look all around us and there's kids and women, just so many powerful women in the industry. All week this week, I've hung out with nothing but my female welders. It's so cool.
So I'm going to ask you a serious question about that. Do you feel like you are a part of that? Are you a part of the reason for this boom?
No.
Because I know you work for it, and I think that in the big scale, I would say you are 100%. Probably whatever that works out to, but you work at it every day.
I do, but I don't feel like it's me. I don't feel realistically. I think honestly, the women that come here and the women that are getting into the industry, I think they're a lot they have the same mindset as I had whenever I came into the industry. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's me. It's literally just a will, a drive, a hustle, that determination to make a better life for their families and for themselves. I don't think it has anything to do with me because everybody has free will and they can choose to do this or not do this. And so this is all them. And I don't ever want to discredit anybody.
No, you don't want to take any of their work away from them.
Yeah, this is their hard work. This is their reason for being here. So this has nothing to do with me and everything to do with them.
Well, I think that there's probably a middle ground there, Rae, because you do want to see things. If I never saw a picture of a Mustang in a commercial, I wouldn't know what a Mustang is.
That's very true.
Right?
That's very true.
And there is a certain level of exposure that needs to exist for people to sort of, I guess, trust the process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I never seen a brown tattooed guy be a boss of a company, I would have never thought that I might have thought about it. Right?
Right.
And so even though you're very humble, and it's one of the things that people love about you, that you're genuine and you just do you, and it just, you happen to have a camera on you when you do.
I know, so weird.
Stuff, right?
It's so weird.
Yeah, you're just that. It's the generation, right? It's the world. But in the end, you are still creating an image, right? And there's an image, and especially now with the kids' book and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. You got to be thinking about a little bit of how you come off to the public.
Oh,
right?
and you know what? It's so funny that you say that because over the last couple of years, like everybody knows I'm a little feral. You know, everybody knows
That's
this.
what we love about you.
But over the last couple of years, I have really like just started to see like the younger generation, like these young girls, like how many young girls are actually following me. So I was like, I got to clean it up a little bit. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But it didn't really hit me until this year how many like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds are in their dad's shops and in their mom's shops and they're fabricating. They sent me flowers. I have flowers from little girls that they built all over the country. Like, this is incredible. This is such an incredible movement. And so it's not like necessarily like marketing for, you know, the kids, but
you're not pushing stuff into them.
That spark ignites so much earlier than what we think. Like, people go after the trades for high school, right? Dude.
No.
It needs to go so much earlier than that.
Like, I mean, statistics show, like, by grade 5, they should understand at least what the trades do.
Yeah.
Like, at least, like, this thing we live in was built by people.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this thing dad drives was built by people in a factory.
So I went and spoke to Midland, basically all of Midland ISD second graders. There was like over 700 second graders that I spoke to.
That must have been loud.
It was actually the most, I like want to lock that memory away forever. Yeah. Like, the most incredible group of kids that I've ever spoke to. And like the amount of interest that they had towards welding is phenomenal. Like, they all realized, like, hey, we're sitting in this auditorium. Without welders, this building wouldn't even be possible. Without welders, your mom or dad or grandparents or whoever takes you to school would not be possible. All of these things would not be possible. And they're like, it clicks. And they're like, man, that's really cool. Because, you know, people downplay the trades. Like, I went to college. Yeah. I mean, some people went to college. I don't use my college education anymore. Obviously, I do
in some
welding.
way you probably do whatever tidbits.
Yeah, in some areas, but like we downplay the trades as if, oh, well, if you can't get into college, you should just jump into trades. Like, we're a bunch of dumb.
Second shot.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you blew the big leagues now. Nope. This is what you get.
Absolutely not. And it shouldn't, because there's the amount of incredible people I've met this week that are jumping into it, not going to college, it does not make them in any way, shape, or form dumb or less of anybody else. Like, some of these people are so incredibly smart, smarter than me. Like, the amount of math and like tape measures and things that they're using, I'm not even using, you know, like, this is incredible. Yeah. It's so incredible to see. I'm honored to be able to watch all this industry grow and all these, you know, elementary school kids getting into it. It's just, it's so cool. I feel like maybe we should be opening up middle school welding or like simulations for elementary school students.
Or like a day that they send them off to the local college to have like a day
just to watch
of trying the trades with and having older people kind of walk them through it.
Yeah,
right?
just to watch.
Yeah. Now, in terms of like getting out there and you know, working with the kids and doing that stuff, you know, your inspiration came from where for that? Was it your own kids? Was it looking at other people's families? You know, where did you pull that out of?
Well, of course, my kids are always going to be number one inspiration for me. Yeah. Like, I do everything that I do it for them. I'm just trying to create a better life for them. Even though my daughter's 18 now and my son's about to be 14, so they're grown kids basically.
They're like, whatever, mom.
I know. Besides, like, they'll always be number one, but there's, I don't know. So I'm going to tell you how, especially like how the book kind of came about and how that realization of like, that spark is ignited like so young is every Sunday when I go ride, like I've started taking time for myself instead of working all the time. So I dedicate Sundays to riding my motorcycle. And every Sunday before we go ride, we stop at this local cafe called Estella's, and it's a little hometown cafe in Big Spring, Texas, and it's in the middle of like an industrial area, so it looks like
it's like the shop diner.
And so, and it's owned, like family owned, like the grandparents do all the cooking, and the daughter and her husband run the dining room area. The little cousins are the bus boys.
Cute.
And, you know, like the daughters are there just because their parents are there and they sit behind the counter.
Daycare.
Yeah. And so this one day we were checking out and this little girl, she's probably like 8. She was reading, she was watching her iPad. And I was like, what are you watching? She's like, I'm watching Frozen. I was like, oh, I haven't seen that movie. My kids are big, so obviously I haven't seen it. She's like, it's a great movie. And her sister kind of outed her out and was like, she watches it on repeat all the time. And I was like, oh, really? And she's like, yeah, it's a good movie. Well, so she like kind of chit-chats about it, and then she puts her head back down and she starts watching it again. I finish checking out, and then she lifts up her head from her iPad. She looks at me dead in the eyes, and she said, I'm really shy, but I'm a really big fan of yours. And I was like, you know who I am? And she was like, yeah, I live down the street from you. And I was like, what? You live down the street from me? And she was like, yeah. She's like, I've been watching you build in your driveway for the last few years. And I was like, shut up, are you serious? And she was like, yeah. She's like, I love your work, I love your cars, I love everything you build. The hot air balloon was amazing, blah, blah, blah. And like for a second, like I realized like, man, I did not know that these little girls are watching me.
Yeah, they're watching.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're watching. They're not saying anything, but they're watching. Well, then it just a snowball effect after that I really started, because you know, like for instance, you want to be a firefighter?
Yeah.
You never see fire trucks before you didn't want to be a firefighter, but then when
you see them all.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. So like after that little girl came forward with that, which I invited her, I was like, dude, anytime you want to come to the shop, please come. And she used to come visit me all the time, but now I moved, and so now it's a little bit more difficult for her to come and visit me. But after that, I started really understanding that these little girls are watching me, and then the flowers started showing up. And then I would get these text messages. GarageBound, Michael Brandt, he texted me. He was like, hey, he was at the PRI show.
Okay, yeah.
And he was like, hey, I have one of your little fans here. And I was like, shut up, really? And he was like, yeah, sent me a selfie, and this little girl had my hat on. She had a Rae Ripple hat on.
Yeah,
and I was like, and her name was Olivia. And so she had just sent me a flower literally like a few weeks before
So
she
you
went
had
to
a
this
connection there.
Yeah, before she went to this PRI show. And so the character in the book, because of this little girl, it like, I was like, I got to do something. I have to do something. There needs to be something for these little girls to know that it's perfectly acceptable to want to grow up and be a welder. And so hence where Olivia, the character, came from.
So do you have what seems to be an unlimited well of...
My armpits are sweating.
It's hot in here, yeah. Hot Lanta.
I know.
An unlimited well of courage to do new things. Because like, oh, I'm not a welder, but I want to be a welder. Oh, I'm not an artist, I want to be an artist. I'm gonna, and you just kind of like jump in and do these things and figure them out and do them well. And then now it's like, I'm going to write a book. I'm an author. Like, was there many versions of this? Did you have someone help you? Did you have like someone you could reach out to be like, hey, I'm thinking about writing a book. How the do I even start? Like,
honestly, I don't know what I was thinking, because writing that book was like the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Now, and I'm super dyslexic, so a lot of people know this. And so writing something was not my strong suit by any means.
And scary probably.
Oh, very scary. So I had been doing research. I've actually been, this is a process that's been happening for like the last year, 2 years. Well, it came out in May, so actually a little bit longer, so almost 2 years. And so doing a lot of research about children's books, their imaginations, and how to keep them drawn in, and blah, 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 like all these different things. And so what went into this book was a lot of research, a ton of research. Yeah. So writing it, of course, was the hardest part. But my son is homeschooled, and so me and his English teacher got to be very close. And so after I wrote it, like, she has a master's degree.
Can you proofread
Yeah,
this
can
for
you
me?
proofread it for me? And she did. She did. And she helped me correct a lot of the things that, you know, I'd messed up, because I started out actually in present tense, and then the end of the book ended up in past tense, which is not how that works. But I did that kind of like by complete accident. And so she helped me correct it. Now I know how to do that. And the illustrations came from like when you're in kindergarten, first, second grade, you do a lot of like stick figures and you know that kind of thing. So I wanted to give them a way
feel.
to like use their imagination to create their own story with only leaving the main characters in real life. So it keeps that attention to the main characters.
They have to be kind of involved with the story.
Yeah, and what's really cool about this book too is because children are children, they have the opportunity to color in it and draw whatever they want and create their own sculptures in there, and you know, that kind of thing. And so I wanted to leave that creative freedom to them also.
So a bit of an activity book as well.
Yeah, it's a book, but it's an activity book too. It could literally be anything they want it to be, which is exactly what I want these kids to know is they can be anything they want to be.
Awesome. Now, what about what's going on with your shop and your build life? Like I see these sculptures you're ripping out, and sometimes I'll be on not on social media for a while, and I'll go back, and then you gotta go scroll, and I'll be like, oh, she's starting an axe. Oh, the axe is done. Oh, is that a new axe? Is that the same axe? Oh, it's you know what I mean? Because it kind of jumps around.
Yep.
So you've had quite a few larger projects roll out. Like, how much of your day is this 40 hours a week now, or 80 hours a week? Have you found kind of a balance to get, the amount of commissions out that you need to do?
Absolutely not.
No, because last year when we talked, you were like, oh.
I'm still struggling with it every single day to try to find that balance. Somehow I make it work. I don't know how, because I do so many different things and trying to give each thing an amount of time, But so I've been traveling a lot. I've been speaking at schools all over the country and businesses all over the country. I've been doing a lot of commercials. I just did some commercials with Northern Tool and Residio, they used to be Honeywell products, which I haven't released that yet. I'm going to actually post that on Instagram soon, so everybody stay tuned. But that one is actually really cool. But doing the TV stuff and just the outreach, trying to get outreach out there, doing that. But then coming home, it's almost like I'm gone so much and I'm giving so much of my energy away. Sometimes whenever I come home, I have to force myself to just stay in bed, recover.
Recharge.
Yeah, and then I go right back into sculpture work. So as much time as I'm spending out there traveling and doing outreach is exactly how much time I'm spending on my art projects. And so right now I'm building 2 giant axes. And because I don't use tape measures, they were supposed to be 12 feet tall. Now they're 13. So I kind of did that to myself, but also I'm from Texas, so everything's bigger in Texas.
Bigger's better, right? Yeah.
And the company that this is going for is Timbercraft Whiskey. So it's a distillery. And so since it's a Texas distillery, of course, it has to be Texas size.
Yeah,
and so so after that, I'll have kind of a small little break, and then I'm headed to another state. I can't say what it is yet or what state it is yet, but I'm headed in December to go help work on the world's tallest glass Christmas tree, which I'm super excited about.
The world's tallest glass Christmas tree.
Yes, I can't give too many details out, but
I'm going to Google where that is. I want to find out. Yeah.
I'm super excited about it. I've always wanted to get into glass anyways.
What do you So you're working on glass stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to be, I'm a part of their team. I'm super excited about it.
Let's just add that to the list of crazy things Kate wants to do.
Well, I've always wanted to add glass, incorporate glass into my work because I'm obsessed with stained glass. I have a vast collection of stained glass. And so I literally want to make some stained glass pieces in the future, and so this is the perfect opportunity to kind of learn a little bit about glass and expand my knowledge, because we don't need to know everything. We need to always be open and susceptible to being a sponge and learning new things. So,
and now in terms of what you're doing for your outreach, you said you're going out and you're talking to schools, lots of kids. Are you still doing the Fabtech stuff? Are you still doing? Oh, my mic's cutting in and out. But are you doing the the outreach to adults, the trade shows? Aside from Fabtech, are you doing lots of the industry stuff? You do stuff with Hypertherm. Are you doing a lot of that still?
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of stuff with NAWIC too, which is the National Women's and Construction, that kind of thing. I've been doing a lot of NAWIC stuff, just schools, visiting places, that kind of thing. But the trade shows, Fabtech is always going to be number one, 100%. I will be here every single year as long as I am able-bodied to get here. So this one will always be here. But I think next year I'm going to try to make SEMA, and then also try to make Fabtech. I don't know.
We were just talking about trying to do SEMA next year too.
Yeah, so if we do SEMA, see you at SEMA. But so hopefully I'll be able to do more next year. But also I have one of my biggest goals right now is to try to break into Burning Man. That's something that's really
You want to do sculpture for Burning Man?
I would love to be a Burning Man artist, and that's kind of because you get so much more creative freedom there, and so that's kind of my next adventure.
And you can go big. You can go big at Burning.
Yes, and that's exactly what I want. I want to go big. I want to go wild. I want to build things that scare the out of me, and I feel like Burning Man is going to be that. And so hopefully I'm not going to say hopefully, because hopefully is not a good word, but one
You're
day
working towards that,
I'm going to be a Burning Man artist, and that's what I'm working towards next. So
I doubt very much anything will stop you.
nah, nothing will. Nothing will. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah. And you know, like when you're talking about working with these companies, and do you see yourself being involved as sort of a rep for businesses forever? Because the volunteer stuff, the association work, it's like its own bubble, right? Like the women in construction, all these things are like its own bubble. Talking to the kids, it's its own bubble. Your art is its own bubble. Business stuff, that's its own bubble. But this stuff takes up a lot of time.
It does.
Right.
It really does. And honestly, like, I think I will always try to be like something like for these companies, because I know, even though we talked about earlier, like that do I feel like I'm a reason why these women are in the industry? I want to, even though I don't feel like I am, and I don't want to discredit their hard work into getting into the industry and making that decision for themselves, but I also want the younger generation, because a younger generation is going to walk into a Northern Tool with their dad or their mom.
And see that flyer or whatever, that ad.
And see me welding on an ad, or pick up that catalog, which is so funny. I just found out I was in their catalog.
What are you
like
selling?
Literally here.
Are you
I don't
holding
know what
something,
I'm
or are you
selling.
doing like one of those like...
No, I'm actually welding in it, which is
Awesome.
really cool.
Yeah.
So they're gonna pick up that catalog, and they're gonna see that's a girl, and I can do that. If she can do it, then I can do it. So it's really about the younger generation type situation, because we have to be role models for them.
Well, and this is exposure. This is exposure land, you know. I've worked with volunteer associations most of my life, and I never got exposure until I started working these type of shows.
Yeah.
Right? Because volunteers are pretty like low-key gigs, unless you like really figure out how to blow them up, but they're usually very underfunded. There's usually not a lot of cash, relying on volunteer.
Right.
So you got to kind of get into this space to be able to find the money and the exposure, right?
Yeah, sorry, people are walking by.
There's a lot of people here.
Hi. Yeah, there's a lot of people walking by and just waving. It's not necessarily about the exposure. I guess for some people it could be.
Yeah.
But to me, it's never been about to be famous. It's never been about the money. It's never been about any of that. Obviously, I do want to take care of my family. My kids deserve the
But you
greatest
have
life.
enough gigs going on to do that.
Yeah, it's not about necessarily the exposure. I don't know. I want that little girl. I want that 13-year-old girl to be like, man, I want to be her. I want to be that. I want to do that. Like, it's about all these kids, because, you know, one day I'm going to get old and I'm not going to be able to do this. And
You're never going to get old.
maybe. Who knows?
I don't know.
I'm already old.
Yeah. Well, I'm old. Like.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, who's going to take over? Who's gonna take over the plasma market? I don't want the freehand plasma market to die. Like, you know what I mean? And then it's a lost art. Not a lot of people do what I do, and I want somebody to be able to take over. And I look on Facebook or on social media in 20 years, if social media even still exists, and I get to see what all these incredible humans are doing with their talents and their hands and stuff like that. So it's about that, not necessarily about me. It's about them, you know?
100%. Now, in terms of projects going forward, you know, you're looking at, are you even planning next year, 5 years, 10 years? Do you think about that?
Actually, all of next year is already booked. So yeah, I have to think about the future because
it's in the tank already.
It's already in the tank already. But I just kind of go wherever the universe takes me, and just trust it. And that's kind of what I've been doing since I've actually joined the industry, you know. And so I'm just going to continue to do that, see what happens, see where I go, you know. Who knows? I may get canceled one day. Who knows?
Is that a thing?
Yes. Kanye just got canceled.
Yeah, but Kanye.
Yes, that is very true. That is very true. But I'm just saying, in retrospect, outside of what he has done, I'm just saying, cancel culture is there.
Yeah, well, I guess, you know, I had the conversation with someone the other day about, you know, like, not necessarily cancel culture, but like, how do you know that what you're doing is the right thing? You know, like, you don't, right?
You don't until after it's done.
That's right, until after it's done. And even with like the podcast and stuff, everything is an adventure that you're not sure where it's going to go. And
well, and we have to take responsibility for our own actions. Think before you speak, think before you do. And sometimes I don't always do that. And I'm not a perfect human by any means. Like, that's me being feral,
Yeah.
But I'm more aware and more conscious of and more educated than what I was even just, a day ago. I learned a lot yesterday, and I learned a lot the day before that. And so I'm going to continue to educate myself so I do not ever put myself in that position. And I have before. I have said some stupid stuff. I
100%,
have done some stupid stuff, and because we are human, but I am going to think before I speak. I am going to think before I act, and so I don't do that to people. I never ever want to intentionally hurt anybody's feelings or do anything to anybody.
We're like adventurous spirits. Like, so you have this desire to go into like rooms you don't know.
Exactly.
Right? Like there's a closed door. I need to know what's behind.
Yeah, that
exactly.
door.
Right?
Yeah.
But people like us, that personality type, you're gonna get yourself in. Like, I mean, it's gonna happen, but you gotta accept that. You gotta be like, okay, that was the wrong move. That door should have maybe stayed a little closed, and that was on me. Right. But I wouldn't have known.
But also, too, I understand that I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to be everybody's cup of tea. I want the people that resonate with me, I want to be able to resonate with them type thing.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah, and honestly, I will never deliberately do anything to anybody to hurt them in any way, shape, or form. That's just, I would never
You don't
do
think
that.
that way.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think that way. And if I have offended somebody, the art of an apology, which a lot of people don't understand, is a big deal. And I've learned that over the last couple of years. The art of an apology is a really, really big deal. And so, I just try to be the best person I can be, try to be the best person for everybody else I could be. And it either sticks or it doesn't. But after that, it's my responsibility, like I said, what I say and how I act and all of those things. But also, I'm not going to give somebody energy that doesn't want to give that energy to me if, they don't like me or whatever.
Drain, it's drain, right? So.
Yeah. And I'm a huge Dolly Parton fan, and I don't know if anybody's ever listened to the Dolly Parton's America podcast.
Okay, no, I haven't.
You should. Dolly Parton is like my boss, idol, entrepreneur.
She's Queen Hustler, man.
Yes. And so I actually, over the last couple of years, especially on Instagram this year, because I got verified. And since I got verified, a lot of things have changed.
You don't have to pay Elon $8?
No, I saw that, dude. But I got verified, and ever since then, a lot of things have changed. And this is something that nobody really talks about, because once you get that blue check mark, everybody, I think, those people attitudes, maybe not everybody, they change and they feel like they're bigger than themselves, type situation. And I'm not like that.
I'm part of the elite club. Like people that drink at the airport, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
They're fancy.
Yeah, or people that fly first class, those kind of people. And so I've noticed, even though I haven't changed nothing, but people's opinion of me have changed since I've gotten that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
And so they have this expectation that I'm going to act a certain way because of some stupid blue check mark, but that's not the case, right? And so anyways, basically what I'm trying to say is that since then, I've lost a lot of friends that I thought were friends for no reason.
Really? I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah, I lost a lot of friends that, I never thought I would lose. And people I don't know, people have they have a certain opinion of me or something like that, if that makes sense.
Or they have an image of who you are in their head, right?
Or something that they've fabricated up themselves.
Yeah,
because
it
if
doesn't
somebody
need to be real. Yeah.
Right, because if you come and talk to me, everybody knows, I love everybody. I love the human race, period, And so I've learned over this last year since then that, back to the Dolly Parton's America podcast, is that, people are going to talk about you. People are going to, no matter what you do, no matter what you say,
high or low,
no matter how much you accomplish or how successful you are, how much money you make, somebody is going to have a problem with what you're doing. but how you react is your responsibility, right? And I've always been such a softie. Like, I don't have a mean bone in my body, so I can't talk shit back to, which is kind of surprising because I have such a foul mouth, you know? So you would think that, like, I would just be so available to, like, talk about
I'm ready.
somebody.
I got the squares all
I'm
lined
so
up.
ready. But I'm not like that. And I've been struggling with that a lot the last year or so when people are, like, saying bad things about me and I just let them. I don't say anything back. And so I kind of felt like kind of like
You're like allowing it almost.
Yeah. But so I listened to this podcast, and in one episode she was talking about, she was with Porter Wagner. Porter Wagner is how her career started, right? Well, after she left the show and she started doing her own thing, he trashed her. He trashed her all the time. He sued her, he trashed her. He sued her and then he trashed her, like that kind of thing. But if you listen to any interview that she's ever done with him, she's never said anything, but he has a heart of gold, and she thanks him for her start and all of these different
and the opportunities that he gave her.
Right. And the host of the show asked her, why didn't you ever tell the truth? Why didn't you ever say anything? And she said, I let their character do that for them. I don't have to say anything. Their actions and their words,
they'll make their own enemies,
are their own responsibility. And so that right there will be what speaks volumes. You don't have to say anything. Let their character do it for them. And so I live by that. And it made me feel so much better about, those people that have walked away and all of that kind of stuff.
It's not your responsibility to hold them, right? They got to put themselves where they need to be.
Right. And it doesn't matter. Honestly, the more success that you get and the more things that you do, or the more things that you try, there's always going to be somebody that's going to be around you that's going to tell you you're not good enough. But it's your responsibility to take control of your own life, because in 5 years, is that really going to matter? No, it's not.
No. I used to have a best friend since I was like literally, I think, 7 years old. And when I started getting into entrepreneurialism, he was like, you're dumb. Why would you do that? You have a kid. You can't just throw away your career and try to start a business. And I was like, of all people, I thought you would be the most supportive.
It's wild.
Really? Because I've known you since we were kids, and you've always known me to be the weird hyper kid that likes to do stuff. So I'm just now a weird hyper adult that likes to do stuff. So how is this weird? Because I'm kind of going crazy working in a shop. I feel like I need to do something else. And he's like, yeah, but you don't know what you're doing, so you're just going to fail. Like, why would you do that?
But do we ever know what we're doing?
No,
never.
And I don't even understand the concept of failure. That's something that in my mind doesn't exist. I don't really believe in failure.
Well, we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. Are failures really failures, or simply just redirection?
Yeah, like you're just moving, man. Like you're just a ball of energy, and it is what it is. Like if water hits if water's going down the river and it's going to the ocean, and all of a sudden some of it gets splashed out onto the shore, is it not still water?
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
Like it's just it's not in the same path, but it didn't stop being what it is, right?
Exactly. Well, I'm really glad that you chose the life of entrepreneurship, because if you hadn't chose that, then we wouldn't be friends. So I'm really glad that you did.
But I did have to cut him out, and that hurt. I still think about him all the time.
It is.
Think about
mourning people that are still alive is something that's very, very real. But you have to you got to let it go.
Yeah. I struggle with letting go.
I
do. I struggle with letting go. I didn't have a lot of family growing up. I didn't have a lot of support. I didn't have a lot of things.
Same.
So my friends were like,
Your
they're
family.
like my bros. They're like my family.
Yep.
And so when something happens, I really struggle with being like, okay, I don't need you anymore. It's like, but I kind of do. Like,
yeah. Well, and see, that's why I was saying the art of an apology is a really big deal, because when it comes down to the nitty gritty and the people that walk away, I even find myself too, when I didn't even do anything, I'll still apologize just because,
you should move to Canada.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I feel like I'm basically Canadian now that I've been up there and rode all of BC and Alberta.
Well, you were with.
See, I got the little poppy.
You got the poppy.
I got the poppy.
Right. You were with Rhea.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh my God. I almost said the F word. Look, see, I control myself.
Can.
Okay.
You can.
I fucking love her. I love her. Oh my God, she's literally the most incredible woman I've ever met. She's so powerful.
And where she lives is so beautiful.
Oh my God, her house. Have you been to her house?
I haven't been to her house, but I know the area.
I am literally I would move in tomorrow if she would let me, and I'm sure she would. But and her son, oh my God, he's the most perfect human being. Literally, he's the most perfect human being. Literally, her family is amazing, and We rode motorcycles together. Dude, that girl can ride.
Yeah?
Oh my
Yeah.
God, she can ride. She can ride.
That's awesome.
I just love her. I look up to her so much. She's a huge inspiration to me. Everything that she does, and she's unapologetically herself.
Yeah, 100%.
and- which I love.
Even
that.
her Halloween costume this year had me
Oh
rioting.
my God, I was dying. I was dying. She sent me like a whole video that she didn't post on social media. It was so great. I loved it. It was like literally the best thing ever. So shout out to Rhea. We love you.
Yeah. All right, well, let's take a quick break for our sponsors, and we'll be back here on the CWB Association podcast in Atlanta at Fabtech with Rae Ripple.
The CWB Association is new and improved and focused on you. We offer a free membership with lots of benefits to anyone interested in joining an association that is passionate about welding. We are committed to educating, informing, and connecting our workforce. Gain access to your free digital publication of the Weld magazine, free online training, conferences, and lots of giveaways. Reach out to your local CWB Association chapter today to connect with other welding professionals and share welding as a trade in your community. Build your career, stay informed, and support the Canadian welding industry. Join today and learn more at cwbassociation.org.
And we are back on the CWB Association
Man, that was
podcast.
such a long
Wow.
break.
Woo. It's
Woo.
actually the next day.
Man, yeah, like 14 days later. It's like SpongeBob. It says an
beard's-
eternity
yeah.
later.
My beard's all long. We're all like hungry. Okay, so I wanted to ask you about swearing.
Okay.
Because we had a conversation before you got here about last year's podcast. There was a lot of beeps, right?
Yeah,
There's a
there
lot of
was.
beeps. And that's
There
fine.
was.
Because, like, I mean, I'm a welder show. I don't care about
Yeah.
the beeps, and we beep them. And actually, in the beginning, we didn't even beep them. We're like, let them ride.
Yeah.
But then I got some pushback. So it's like, all right, okay, we'll beep them. But I'm not going to tell people to not talk how they talk, right?
Right.
But I have noticed significant change in your on-air persona in terms of swearing.
Yeah.
You don't swear as much, and you like actually asked for permission just now.
The kids,
to
man.
swear. Is it that what it is?
It's the kids.
Yeah.
It's the kids, man. I told you, like, I did not realize how many of these children were following me and watching everything I do. And I do not take that lightly. I do
Yeah.
not take that lightly. Like, it's a grave responsibility, and I didn't ask for this responsibility, but I did
here
in a
now,
way.
yeah.
I did in a way. You know, this is what I chose. This is the life that chose me, and so I have this responsibility to be a good role model for these kids, you know what I mean? And so, like, I'm really, you know how hard it is not to drop the F-bomb
All
and
the bombs,
every
yeah.
other word, you know what I mean? And it's such an incredible word, too. I love that word, obviously.
It's a
my
well-designed
favorite.
word.
But, yeah.
It's small.
Who made it a cuss word anyways?
It's succinct.
We need to talk to that guy. You know, he's fired.
Yeah.
but,
it's probably his last name. It's
I
like,
know.
oh, I'm Mr.
Yeah, no, it's the kids, man. I like my passion towards them. I mean, when I can't do this anymore, they got to take over, and I just want, you know, I want to be a good example for them. You know?
And it's so funny how you phrase that, because I got to tell you, I love being crazy Uncle Max to
Yeah.
all my nieces and nephews, and to like the kids that I interact with, even when I was a teacher. I like being crazy Uncle Max. I'm the uncle that's going to be like, mom and dad going to say no. I'm going to be like, let's ride. Let's do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make sure you're safe.
Right.
Because if a kid wants to do something bad, he's going to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to be there. I'm not going to say no, but I'm going to help you get through this, whatever you're thinking, and try to do it safely and get your experience that you're actually craving. Because what kids are craving is experience.
Yeah.
They're not craving bad. They're not
Right.
craving good. They're craving experience, right? And I'm the one that teaches all the kids the swears, right?
Yeah.
Because I try to tell them, like, okay, swearing is a thing,
Yeah.
all right? And you're going to hear adults swear all the time,
Right.
TV, radio, music, whatever. But there's a right way and a wrong way. You don't want to ever swear at a person. You don't want to ever do it to put someone down. But if you stub your toe at 2 a.m. on a coffee table trying to get a glass of water, let them rip, man.
Honestly, I'm probably gonna get some hate for this, and but it's the truth, and a lot of people don't like the truth and what real really is, and so kids are their own little people.
Yep.
They have their own personalities.
When you have kids,
They
you realize
have-
that like they're 3 days old and they just are what they are.
They have their own thoughts. They have their own like desires. They have their own being. They are people. They are people, and like people forget that kids are us. You know, and so in order,
just with no experience.
yeah, they have no experience, and so they're just going through the motions. They're like whatever, you know, that kind of thing. And swearing maybe, yeah, whoever said that swear words are like I said, should be fired. But like kids they're humans too, and they make mistakes, and in order to learn from those mistakes, they have to make them. You know what I mean? Different things like that. Like my son, he's 14, and he plays a ton of video games.
I'm a gamer too. It's okay.
Yeah, and so I've learned that in the video game world, that it's a whole different world in there, like versus like in the real world. But I've literally, like, I went to leave to go to the gym one time, and
you heard
I
what was
forgot
coming out?
I forgot my water bottle, right?
Yeah.
And whenever I came back in, I took my headphone out, and his door was kind of cracked open. This is like, he was probably like 9 or 10, I think, at the time. His door was cracked open, and he goes, "You're a little..." Like he was
just
like,
went off.
Oh my God, went off on this guy. And I slammed open the door. I said, "Cash, Colt, Ripple." And he just like, "I gotta go, guys." And he like turned his mic off, like that kind of thing. But honestly, even still now, he's almost 14. He's still he's heavy into the video game world. He's not playing on consoles anymore. He has a full PC setup.
Yeah, that's the way you go. I'm PC.
He has
OG.
2 screens.
Yeah.
Like he's got the whole computer processor. I'm learning a lot about this stuff because I have to purchase it. So, like,
well, he's 14. He's gonna have to start purchasing it himself pretty soon.
I know, but he's extremely smart for his age, and it's because of the PC games. Like he's learning about drop shipping and NFTs and Bitcoin and all these like and crypto money and like things I don't even know anything
Wants
about.
to talk about that ever? Send him to me. I do that stuff. I do all that.
But you know, I think as a like he's okay, so this is where I'm gonna get the hate. Is I kind of let my kids be who they want to be, and if he's frustrated about something and he's like passionate about something and he's like his feelings are hurt about something, or he's trying to tell me something, or he's excited about something, and he accidentally swears, because he does swear on the game, and everybody that's watching this or listening to this, your kids swear on the game, even though you think they're angels. They're not. Okay, they're not. You should listen to the stuff that comes out of their mouth. I promise you, they're not. But every once in a while, he'll drop something just out of pure accident because he does it on the game. I never, ever punish him for it because he's a human.
But it's like a whoa moment at the supper table when a kid swears by accident. You're like, oh, really?
Yeah. And so, but what's great is he's, 14, almost 14. So he's literally just a few years away from being 18. This is a valuable part of his life where he's really learning how to be a decent human being and where to do things and where not to do things, take responsibility for his actions, and think before he speaks and thinks before he does stuff, And so, like, I don't ever punish him for just being a human, ever. So if he's passionate about something and it accidentally drops, it accidentally drops. It's not that big of a deal. It's just a word.
You gotta choose the hill you're gonna die on as a parent. Like, number one, I'm a busy dude, and I hate. People always like, "Do you have any regrets?" I'm like, no, I don't have any regrets. But if I had a recommendation for young Max, try to spend a little bit more time with my kids, because I'm such a busy person. But my kids have never been like, you weren't around. Because I would drag him around with me and do just like, let's go. We got to do all this stuff your crazy dad's doing. But I could have been more present, because you do get caught up in all your projects and stuff like that. And you try the best. But I didn't have time to fight with my kids. I didn't like
pick your battles.
Pick my battles. So like swearing. Okay, we'll have talks, but I'm not gonna freak out about.
You're grounded. I'm taking your PC. Like da 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 da.
No time for that stuff. And I'm a gamer, so like my kids at the game. I'm a musician. My daughter got into music and bands. Cool. So like they're doing their things. But I did have my hard lines. Like there was a couple hard lines. And when you raise your kids to be more free, like we did, we're like, explore, do your things. I'll support you.
Make the mistakes.
Right? But then they do cross that line. They aren't good with being told that there's a line, because they're kind of not used to it, right?
Right. Well, I think I pick and choose my battles with them, and I think because me and my kids were super tight. We've been through together, and like they're my best friends. Literally, they're my best friends. They're everything. And just Cash, the thing is if they can't express themselves in a moment of passion or a moment of emotion,
that builds up and goes somewhere weird.
And I want them, if they can't express it now, whenever they get into a situation where they have to defend themselves or express themselves or whatever, if you're told, hey, don't do that, don't talk that way, don't da-da-da-da, if you have all these rules and regulations on these kids, then they'll never be able to process things as an adult. And so I let him and my daughter both do that, be like express themselves, because they're supposed to express themselves. And we punish children every single day for expressing themselves and their personalities. They're human. They've got to be able to live, you know.
Well, you got an 18-year-old and a 14-year-old, right?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, my kids just moved out, so they're both gone now. My daughter done university. She's off. My son moved out, and being an empty nest, I thought would be like, I'm so free, man. I'm just
It's
sad a lot.
It's so sad. I know. Okay, so Chloe, when she turned 18, I was like, she's gonna move out. It's gonna be so sad. It's gonna be so sad. And Cash is over here like, what about me?
Yeah.
You know?
Can I fill that space?
Yeah. And he's like, I'm gonna take her room. But honestly, I really don't think she's ever gonna move out. Like, which I'm so like secretly in love with. You know, like, please don't ever move out. Plus, she cleans my house, and so
Perfect.
I pay her every week to like clean, which is so great. And she's like OCD about it, so it's like it benefits me. So please never leave. But honestly, like, we have such a tight relationship, especially, you know, how you were saying is like you feel bad sometimes because you're always gone and things like that. Like, I've made a ditch effort, like, over the last couple of years to really just slow down and enjoy them.
Have that time.
Because I didn't really get to enjoy them whenever they were young, because I always had to work 2-3 full-time jobs just to make ends meet. And so I've slowed down a lot to really enjoy them. And it's really helped our relationship grow even more. And like pulling Cash out of school and homeschooling him now. And like, we really do things as a family. So at 5 o'clock, I start slowing down. 5:30, shop doors closed. We go inside. We turn on music. We cook dinner together. My son's really gotten into cooking because of TikTok. So there's lots of TikTok cooking videos. And so he'll send me videos.
And
we'll go
cooking is a skill everyone should have, like, for real.
Exactly. Dude, I am raising my son to be the best husband. He is going to be somebody's husband. Don't worry. He's going to take care of you ladies, okay? He's going to take care of you ladies. I'm doing my best, I promise. He may say every once in a while, but he's going to take care of you. So, but yeah, like we strive to spend time together, and even just being here at Fabtech and being gone for work, like I make sure and spend time like FaceTiming them. Like I'll sit in bed with them for like an hour and a half before I even go to bed, just to catch up with them about their day, like just kind of keep the same routine when I'm gone versus when I'm there. And honestly, it's like made us all closer. Like, we don't have no secrets. We have nothing. Like, we keep nothing from each other except for like maybe if I go eat without them and I'm like, hey, y'all have to eat at home. Like, I didn't eat.
Eat your healthy salad and you have like a hidden BK bag.
Yeah. I walk in with my McDonald's cup and they're like, did you go eat without me? Nope. I just went through and got a drink. That's the only lies we tell in our house.
All right. Well, I'm getting told we're up on time. We got a busy day. Oh, so Daniela's telling me.
We got to talk about the book.
We have talked about the book.
Oh, yeah, we did. We did a little bit. Oh, show it. She said show it.
Oh, okay. See, we know who the real boss at the CWB Association is.
No, she's the boss.
So here's the book. I mean, you hold the book. It's your book. And then where can people find the book?
So actually, it just got released to where you can actually buy it overseas now. So you can buy this internationally, and I believe it is translated, I think. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on it.
Yeah.
But it's out there. You can get it on Amazon. It's sold at Walmart. It's sold at Target. It's literally sold in at Barnes & Noble, a bunch of other stores. So I sold... Gosh, so many copies, which is insane.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
are you gonna get like on a list? Are you on like a list?
I hope so. Not yet.
Yeah.
You have to sell like between 5,000 and 10,000 copies basically in like a week in order to make one of those lists. I sold that since the beginning. I definitely haven't made a list yet, but I did get like a reader's favorite 5-star award, which is pretty cool. Wow. And I got some other really cool stuff because of it.
Yeah.
So
now, is there pressure on you to do more?
Yeah, I actually am going to turn it into a whole series.
Are you signing a book deal? Is that a thing? Is that like,
no, I actually self-published.
Okay,
I self-published.
Awesome.
I self-published. And so and I know people are like, oh man, I bet she made a fortune off this. It's really not. I make a couple of cents, it's
as
not
all
about
things with media.
Yeah, it's not about the money. It's about trying to get it out there.
Yep.
It's about those kids, That's all that matters. And so I'm hoping to turn this into a whole series. I'm also working on my memoir. So beware, I'm telling all the
tough,
secrets.
Man. I've thought about that so many times. People always ask me, like, you got to put down your crazy life into a book. And I'm like, that's not a bad idea, because to be honest, as I get older and as I keep stacking adventures, I'm starting to forget details of stuff from when I was younger. And also, after many, many hours with a shrink, my trauma response is to bury. So like I have a lot of stuff that I buried that I feel like I maybe need to write it down for people. Even my own kids don't know some of the stuff that I've been through, right? Like,
and you know me, I'm feral, so I like to talk about things that nobody wants to talk about. And so a lot of the book is going to cover, of course, my life as a stripper. And I'm hoping that, you know, somebody reads it. And because now the stripping these days is OnlyFans. And so I hope people read it and realize that, yeah, you may seem like you're in control taking your clothes off for $1, but 100 people just saw you naked for $1. That's $100. So sex sells, but after it sells, then what's left? You know?
What's the return, I guess?
Yeah,
right?
so I want people to see and hear and read like what really truly is the ugly life of being a product of your environment, so that way they can choose to do something different.
All right, so real quick to wrap up, what do you got coming up? What's in the next month or two here?
Well, the world's tallest glass Christmas tree.
Right,
I'm gonna
which
finish.
is undisclosed location.
Yes, and then I'm going to finish the Axis for Timbercraft whiskey, and then take the rest of the year off and just enjoy my family.
Awesome. A long Christmas break?
Yes,
Me
definitely.
too. So I'm going to Chile for 5 weeks to see
Really?
my family. Yeah.
Ah! Oh my God,
I'm
send
so
me all the
pumped.
pictures.
It's my first holiday in 6 years.
Aww.
So I am pumped. I'm
I'm
going
so
with my
excited
wife. We're actually
for
taking
you.
some friends. So
Yeah.
we're always bragging about where I'm from, and Chile's so awesome. And then finally my friends are like, well, can we go? It's like, yeah, dude.
I love it.
Let's rock. So there's like a big group of us going, and we got a beach house all set up. It's going to be
it's
fun.
that empty nest,
man.
that
Yeah,
empty nest,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
You take
now we can roll.
advantage.
Well, actually, I invited my kids, and they're
And
like,
they were
no.
like, nah.
I was like,
Yep.
okay.
How did I already know that? I already knew that because literally every single time
they're
I try
like-
to invite them to something, like, nah, I think I'll stay here. Can you pick me up some food though?
Yeah.
That's literally how it goes.
So awesome. Well, thank you very much, Rae, for being on the show. Always love having you on.
I love you guys.
Yeah.
Anytime.
And we're always here to
Anytime.
support you and reach out anytime. We
Same.
love doing what you do. So
Same.
And
Same.
to all the people listening, you can find Rae online.
Yep.
Everywhere. She's everywhere. And if you ever get a chance to come to Fabtech, come to
should.
Fabtech. We're always
should.
around here. And make sure you keep downloading and listening to the podcast. We got 4 more to do today. So we got a busy
Yeah.
day. And I got to figure out what's going on with this mic when we
I
get
know.
off. Yeah.
Mine did it a little bit too.
Yeah, I
but
got to
it's
figure
okay.
out. But I hopefully, well, if my luggage ever shows up WestJet, I can maybe figure it out. So
We're going to write a lengthy email.
yeah, you're going to get the longest email ever that you're not going to read.
I'm going to write it.
All right, well, thanks a lot and take care. And
Much
thanks,
love.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed the show.